maybe as part of the cabinet reshuffle, maybe now he's open to rehiring Sara. Maybe Sara will finally get the part of national defense that she was. I mean, I half jokingly said that, but if he pushes reconciliation argument to its logical conclusion, why not, right? Why not just put some Duterte people in your cabinet and everything will be love, 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 and everything's fine? I just felt that was not the best message that he could have sent at this point in time. You know, I honestly, the message he should have sent is to say, yes, we didn't do as well in the Senate, but nevertheless, my allies dominated in the Congress. Nevertheless, we won most of the gubernatorial and mayoral position. Nevertheless, we have sufficient number in the Senate to, at the very least, to push for what I believe is the right agenda for the country. And then, of course, yes, he's free to say, I respect separation of powers at wala akong kinalaman sa trial na yan, and just leave it at that. What we see from this president is he keeps on throwing a wet blanket on the Sara impeachment trial issue, which I think is, again, excessive. He should just distance himself, but not throw a wet blanket when some people are worried that what could happen here is that maybe a trial will not happen, or that the Mickey Mouse trial may happen. So I just felt overcorrection is happening here rather than a proper response introspection.
Oh, do you think he realized that the Duterte base was too valuable to lose? I mean, with the 2028 in sight and him not having a successor, a strong successor at the moment, is this him trying to regain that base for political alliances heading into his last 3 years? Or is this his personality just showing that he is just too nice, as discussed in that podcast na sinasabi nga na there is that perception that he may be too nice, and he said that he wants to be respected, but maybe fear is better. Which of the two do you think it is?
Well, I mean, we can talk about Machiavelli for the next hour and have a lecture on Machiavelli, that sometimes you need to be a fox and sometimes you need to be a lion. That's absolutely correct. I mean, I think as far as President Marcos Jr. is concerned, I think he has to accept that one of the reasons they didn't do very well during election is precisely because there was a lack of effective response to two major criticism from two different camps. The first one was yung criticism galing sa mga liberals and progressives ukol dun sa issue ng ayuda, PhilHealth, and supposed questionable practices in the budget ahead of the election period, basically weaponizing the budget to serve the Alianza campaign. I never heard really a decisive and convincing response on that front. So they were already pinned down on that front. And then the ICC issue happened, and then what we saw was there was no follow-through. There was no convincing narrative by Marcos or his deputies to really to say that this was a legitimate move, this was in the national interest. No, they just wanted to shove it below the rug and hope that the machinery of the state and everything will carry the day, and that the buduts and the names and all of that will be enough. Well, guess what? It was not enough. So I think that should be more of the introspection, that there was not a significant effort to deal with those major criticisms from both camps. And guess what? Those two camps did well. Number one went Bongo, number two went but almost number two, and then number two was, of course, Pam, and number 5 was Kiko Pangilinan. Only one from Alianza was in top 5. So that means there was not effective response to that. The second thing is, the campaign of the Alianza, was it run effectively, right? Were the candidates doing the best they could to push the agenda of the president? I remember very well, in fairness to President Marcos, when he opened the campaign in Lawag, he was very strong talking about corruption, alleged anomalies of corruption, Farmali. He talked about West Philippine Sea, na kami ang Team Pilipinas, hindi kami tuta ng China. He talked about extrajudicial killing, etc. And then what happened? There was no follow-through whatsoever. So my point is, maybe he's over-reading into, I don't know, this meta-narrative na baka ang gusto ng tao is I'll just, fold over and just let the Dutertes have their day. I think that's a wrong way of reading it. Maybe you should have more tactical understanding of what went wrong with your campaign. Maybe your campaign team did not do well. Maybe you didn't extract enough from your candidates. Maybe you didn't have the best combination of the candidates. After all, maybe some of them were towards retirement days rather than towards a re-energized campaign. So, yun ang concern ko dito, na I think President Marcos Jr., rather than looking at tactical factors that may have contributed to their underperformance, not total defeat in the midterm elections, what he's doing here right now is essentially he's getting the white flag out. And exactly, going back to what you said, if you want to go Machiavellian about it, I don't see either fox here nor lion. I see an owl here, maybe the owl of Minerva and wisdom and introspection. But he's still president, and he doesn't want to be a lame dog. But he is like showing that he's worried that he's going to be a lame duck, and that's why he's doing all of these things. So again, I just don't think it was optimal. I am sure people will disagree with me. There were people inside government who disagreed with me, but I hope they understand where I'm coming from on this issue.